is Brianna. Some of you guys may know me as Bri, and I just wanted to take a moment to introduce to you guys a project that I've been working on since mid-2020. But before getting into the project itself, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of background as to why I started this project in the first place. So all of my life, I really love to paint and I love to draw, but it was in my late teenage years, early 20s, that I really turned to painting and drawing and all forms of art to cope with a lot of the emotional turmoil that I was going through. I suffered with depression and anxiety, and painting allowed me to take a lot of those ugly, dark emotions and put it on paper, and then just kind of like leave it behind. Now, fast forward 3 to 4 years, which is like maybe a couple of years ago for me, that I really was able to overcome those anxieties and overcome my depression. And when I picked up that paintbrush once again, I felt like I couldn't draw. I felt like I couldn't create any art. So it was really disheartening. But it wasn't the loss of the ability of painting, it was more of that emotional connection to the artwork itself that I was lacking. I didn't have, for lack of a better term, a muse anymore. I didn't have inspiration anymore or motivation anymore. And so I lost my voice as an artist, and ever since I've been trying to regain that, because art was always something that I enjoyed to do, and I always turned to. And now that I've turned to it when I'm in a happy place, what does that look like for me? Now, during that transition of my artistic voice, 2020 rolled in and the world completely changed for everybody. We had COVID-19 and the pandemic causing a lot of death and a lot of losses and a lot of fear in the world. In the midst of that, we had a lot of social injustices be brought to light, and it wasn't like it wasn't there already. It was just magnified during this time that caused a lot of reflection for me. So while I was on furlough and unemployment, much like the rest of the world, I couldn't help but think that I needed to create something. With all of that reflection of where's my artistic voice, who am I as a person, and what do I want to do, I needed to create some art. I needed to create something meaningful. And thus, the Human Experience Project was born. So let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about this project. The Human Experience Project is a 3-part project. The first part is a interview that I've turned into a podcast called Tell Me Your Story Podcast. The second part is a photo shoot called Let Me Introduce Myself. And the last part is a painted or mixed media portrait done by myself called Let Me Introduce You To. The concept is one participant, i.e. a human, would go through each of those parts, and together it would culminate the essence of what that human or that person is. We live in a really diverse, beautiful world, but through the diversity over time, it has perpetuated divisiveness as well. And that's why I feel like this world is, full of sorrow and full of hate and prejudice. And instead of letting down those walls and opening up our hearts and our minds to other people's experiences, we lack that empathy, and that framework is so limited in our judgments and in our actions. Sometimes we don't even get the opportunity to hear another person's experience because we live so tightly knitted into our collective bubbles. I'm only a culmination of what I've learned from my family and my friends, but there are so many people out there in the world that I can learn from based off of their stories that they have to share. So my hope through this project is to provide a platform for stories to be heard, to be seen, and to be understood on a deeper level, so we don't limit the framework of our judgments and our actions, so that we can broaden our perspectives and open our hearts and minds to new ideas, to new emotions, and to ultimately grow, to contribute to the harmonization of humanity through inclusive diversity. I hope that makes sense, and I hope my project does it justice. And I hope you guys follow along on this journey as I continue to try to grow my heart and my mind to other people's perspectives. So I hope you guys like it. Follow, subscribe, all those fun things, and I hope to see you guys soon.